AFTV were down here at the Emirates. You know what? We were down here this time last week, depressed as hell about the European Super League. I remember after we finished doing the video, I had to ring Samaritans about Turkish. He was that No, I didn't. Not that far, but we were all really depressed last week because, of course, that was the day after the news broke about the European Super League. And it was almost like we were all talking about how we can fight it and that, but there was a little bit, not resignation, but fear in all of us that this thing could happen. And then in the space of a couple of days, it just fell apart. It was over. The fans had won the day and the European Super League did not happen. However, still the same owners, the Kroenkes, and a lot of anger. I mean, they already weren't popular here at all before that. After that, it was universal. You heard players like Ian Wright coming out and saying that he wants him gone. Thierry Henry. We had the big protest here on Friday, which all of us attended, which was packed out here. I estimate at least 5,000 fans here. Yeah. Very loud, very vocal, saying they want Kroenke to leave the club. You cannot find right now an Arsenal fan, not just in the UK, anywhere around the world right now, who wants him to stay, right? Then the news breaks today that, well, actually it broke last week, I think it was like Friday or Saturday, that Daniel Ek,
tweet out,
who is the founder of Spotify, wants to, or is interested in buying the club. And we all thought, okay, wouldn't mind someone get the club. Then today the news broke that this guy is serious, very serious. I've had it on very, very good sources, had it from very, very good sources, that this is real. He wants to buy the club. He's enlisted the help of Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, and also Patrick Vieira. They've formed a consortium and they're going to try to buy Arsenal Football Club. So I needed to get the reaction of the guys, right? Because this is huge news. It's everywhere in the press. I mean, I just did an interview for TV about it. It's everywhere. Could it happen? Could the Kroenkes sell? Let me start off with you, Turkish, because I know that you've been all over this for years. What do you make of this news?
It's good news, first and foremost. It's definitely good. It's exciting, you know.
Be excited.
Well, yeah. I don't think this is what he meant when he said that, but it's definitely exciting.
Be excited, we're selling in 2 years.
For me, like you said, I've been banging it. It's the most excited I've been since Usmanov bid, however much he bid just before, Kroenke said no and then took over. It's the most excited I've been because, look, fans have made their voice heard and people are listening, you know. Ek is just one of the people listening. We've been rumoured to Dangote before. Usmanov's been a part of us. So let's not forget that this owner we have now is not the one. But let's just hope that this can provide a bidding war maybe. Maybe other interested parties get involved. Maybe, Kroenke is finally forced to sell. Because it's only a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago now that, he rejected that Usmanov bid. And that Usmanov bid was a very healthy bid.
Yeah. Do you think with that though, it kind of, I was looking at it the other day and saying, well, if he rejected the Usmanov bid, which was a high bid, similar sort of sums to what they're talking about now, why would he go for this one? But we've got to factor in the fact that he's losing a lot of money now. The pandemic, Arsenal set to lose 250 to 300 million pounds, right? That's the sort of sum that we were told over the years they're paying off year in, year out for the stadium. They're set to lose that. The European Super League, which he might have banked on being in to make loads of money, that's not going to happen, at least not for a while anyway. The fans hate him now, even more than ever. Could this be the perfect storm, Turkish?
100%. Look, profit and loss is one thing, and profit and loss is something he hasn't cared about at the club. As you can see, the last couple of years, we've been making a loss. Before the pandemic, we become a loss-making club, a loss-making company, however he wants to see it. So the losses have come in, but we could see that his eyes were on the value of the club, the stock market value. And this European Super League being disbanded, let's hope it is the end of it for now, because if there is any light to the end of that European Super League tunnel, I fear that Kroenke will try and hold on as much as he can. That's why I hope that Ek is serious, but I also hope that others are, paying attention. If Dangote was serious with his comments a couple of years ago, then now is the time to come in. If there's any other interested parties, now is the time to come in. It's all about a bidding war now. We can't just rely on one man. You know, it's great news to hear Ek is interested, but at the same time, he might not be the one. It might be someone that we find out tomorrow morning. Let's just hope the train starts moving now, because this is what we need. We can speak and shout and chant all we want, but if there's not a suitable bid, a suitable person coming in to take the club away from him, then it's going to fall on deaf ears.
Do you think, James, that this sounds like suitable people? Daniel Ek, of course, founder of Spotify, so obviously an incredible business person, because that's an incredible business. But also bringing in those legends, those invincibles, Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, Patrick Vieira, winners, people who know what Arsenal were when we were at our best, people who would demand the highest standards. I mean, does that excite you?
It sounds in principle pretty perfect, doesn't it? You know, one of the biggest issues we've had is the lack of fan representation and fan voices in the decision making of the club. When the Super League happened, every club across the big six here in England were saying, why were fans not consulted on this? Why were we not asked about this decision? So I think to have 3 players who, let's be real, maybe the 3 best ever players at this club, or definitely up there, to have them being part of key decisions, you know, for the club and the direction of the club, that definitely encourages us. I'm going to be really boring and say just because they're great players doesn't mean they can be great runners of a football club. But I think with where we are, we're at a stage where we need people who we genuinely believe care about this team, care about the direction of the club, and the Kroenkes fundamentally don't. Ek, look, he said he's a massive Arsenal fan himself. It sounds great in principle. I think we've got a lot to learn about it. But as we said on the live stream, you know, the whole grass is greener, you know, or the grass isn't always greener. Yeah, but as I said, we're not in grass. We're in mud right now. Yeah. So quite frankly, I want to go to that nice patch of grass where people seem to care about this stadium, this club, the fans. I think it sounds very encouraging. And if I had to pick, you know, if I had to choose now whether it happens or not, I'm 100% voting for it to happen.
I hope so, yeah, I hope so. I think I like Thierry Henry as well, that his ambition as well for the club. He recently did a radio interview and he said that, yes, it'd be great if we win the Europa League, but he's more focusing about the Champions League and we should be back there fighting for that position in them sort of competitions. So bringing him on board along with the other 2 and Daniel Ek as well, it'll be amazing for us. I think it's great news.
It's like you said, you're talking about someone who's got that winning mentality.
Yeah.
Winning, and I've been lucky enough to speak to Thierry Henry.
Jealous.
Right? And I spent some time with him one time, right? And honestly, that guy loves this football club. It's not, you meet a lot of ex-players and that, and, you know, they're not necessarily, you know, they played for the club. They've got an affinity to the club, but there's certain players I've met, Ian Wright, Thierry Henry's another one, that their love's deep.
Yeah.
And when they see the club not performing, and when they see the club in 8th, 10th, and all these things, trust me when I say it hurts them. So if we've got somebody who sat up there, who watched that game at Everton at the weekend on Friday night, and they're like, it hurts them. They go home and they're like us. They can hardly sleep. They're miserable for the weekend. That's what sort of people I want there.
Yeah.
Whereas at the moment, the thing that I found really fascinating, I don't know if you guys noticed that on Friday, is that our guys, of course, weren't here.
Yeah.
None of them.
Yeah.
Moshiri, who wanted to buy the club along with Usmanov, was here with Everton. And that's the sort of thing that, in bringing these guys in, that could change.
Yeah. They'll be there. They'll be there regularly. They'll be at the games, and it's time. I think you said at the start of the show, like, it's time for the Kroenkes to sell up. This would be the perfect time. They're down on their knees right now. Like you said, they've losing money, the COVID, not being in the Super League. Obviously, UEFA might be fining the club as well, so that'd be more money damage. Yeah, the government.
You know, the government are talking about getting involved.
Yeah. So their pockets going to be heavily affected.
A lot of their plans to, you know, this great plan to make loads and loads of cash
out the window.
Derailed.
Yeah, and obviously they're saying that. They were saying now that they're going to be more interactive with the fans. They're going to put more money in this summer. It's too late for me. 16 years we've been waiting for a proper investment, a proper connection between the Kroenkes and the fans, and they're leaving it too late. And it's only because they're feeling the pressure while they're saying all this now. So it's about time for change. We want to see.
Like James said, if you ask me now, yes or no, Ek in, I'd say yes. But I think we've also got to learn off the past too, in terms of when Kroenke came in. we had Arsene Wenger who sold us the idea too. And we trusted Arsene Wenger. We didn't trust Stan Kroenke. And Stan Kroenke dragged Arsene Wenger's name through the mud for so long that it ended on a sour note. Now, I hope Henry, Bergkamp and Vieira maybe learned off that. And listen, they're not friends in their private life with Daniel Ek. Obviously, this is a business partnership in a sense. I just hope that they trust him, because it's if it happens, it's me trusting them more than I'm trusting Ek. And I wouldn't want any further legends' names to be dragged through the mud at this club because of poor ownership. Because it's happened to Wenger now. Henry, Vieira and Bergkamp, that would hurt even more.
That would kill me.
The thing that's interesting for the Kroenkes right here is, because you made a really good point before about how the pandemic and everything that's going on, you know, maybe this is the best time to sell Arsenal for them. And as we said, with the numbers being thrown about, they'd still make so much money, which is incredible. The thing I think is interesting is they need to be careful and start, I know they don't pay attention to Arsenal, they need to start paying attention to what's going on around the country. Because whether we like it or not, that lot down the road, they have just bought a new stadium. And whether we like it or not, that does give them something more as a club. Everton have got plans to do the same. We've seen Liverpool revamping their stadium and having major success recently. Clubs that we were quite comfortably ahead of for a good decade or two.
Leicester, massive.
Leicester, the training ground, everything, spot on. Every other club, all the things that made Arsenal still big while not performing in Europe, the big stadium, the big fan base, everything else, we've got to be careful, because that might not be there forever, or at least other clubs might catch up. And I think the Kroenkes need to... Well, you're right, actually. And I think the Kroenkes need to see this as a moment of, we might, you know, Arsenal's value may fall away, it may decrease, we might not be. We're the third biggest club in England right now. I think a lot of work has to be done to take us away from that. But, you know, Chelsea have been winning a lot of titles and trophies the last 10 years. I think they've got to recognise that this is a great opportunity for them to get out, pocket a load of cash, move on with their lives, and Arsenal to rebuild while we still have the rep we have. Because we're in danger of losing.
We've seen owners before. I mean, I think of those guys, is it Gillette and Hicks at Liverpool, where a lot of people thought that they wouldn't sell, and they did. We're seeing Mike Ashley at Newcastle, who for years and years and years has dug his heels in and refused to sell. He actually did want to sell the club now.
Yeah, he did,
It's really the Premier League that put a block on that whole move happening. But, so, and the other thing that I think as well, and I know we got the Usmanov situation, but I look at it and I think to myself, well, last week Monday when we were here, we would never in a million years have thought that they'd be backtracking on that Super League as quickly as they did. And that Josh Kroenke would be doing a meeting with everyone saying that, listen, guys, we, you know, owning up to all these errors and mistakes that they made. Because it's a huge climb down. So...
Yeah, it really is, actually.
I don't think on this one we can never say never. This is something that could happen. I know he said at that forum that they have no intention of selling the club. But then I thought about it and I'm like, well, he would never say they are going to sell
it's
the
about
club.
negotiations, isn't it?
So it may come down to that. It may come down to what the value of the club is. But this could be a perfect storm, Turkish.
Let's just hope the Kroenkes are not sour about it, because they can look at the protests and they can look at the uproar and they can look at the chants and the banners that came out on Friday and, you know, look upon it as sour, you know, and some business owners will look upon it as, all right, I'll dig my heels in and make it even worse for you lot. But they have to understand, we've given them chance after chance as a fan base, you know. We didn't know who they was, but we gave them a chance to take us into this new era. It was on them. So I just want them to, you know, like James said, just call it a day now. You know, you're getting a bid, you're making more money than you invested into the club. Just leave it at that now. You can see people care about this club. You can see people love the club.
It's actually making me a bit sick. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't understand. If I own a business and everyone at the business and their fans hated me, I'd feel so uncomfortable. Imagine you employed all us and you turn up to work and none of us liked you.
Some people thrive.
Does it.
Some people thrive off that.
Mike Ashley does it.
What is going on?
Mike Ashley's been doing it for years.
He thrives off it, Mike Ashley. He loves it.
That is, what sort of, it's inhuman of me to think about. That's awful. They enjoy that. That backlash and that negative press.
And there is the thing as well that you could get a situation, a bit like that guy who was at Villa, I think his name was Randy Lerner, another American owner, who again, just let it go to waste until in the end he sold it. You know what I mean? Again, that's,
awful.
you know.
In-
But let me,
In an ideal world, yeah, would we still want the 50+1 rule and Ek coming in, or would,
I would love to still see that
Yeah,
coming.
yeah,
For me
100%.
personally, I know that's a really difficult thing to, it would have to be literally imposed by the government, and then it poses a lot of problems that you could get a lot of owners immediately bail out and a lot of financial turmoil and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In an ideal situation, I would love to see that. My second situation after that is I want to see
a new owner?
a club where fans have a say in it, or it's being run by people who care.
Yeah.
Right, so, but my number one would be
Yeah.
the 50+1.
Yeah.
That's the best system. Let me just ask you all of this finally, right? Real quick question.
Oh, here we go.
Lamptey,
Wait.
Grealish, Varane,
Go on, say Haaland.
Haaland and
Yeah, yeah.
Mbappe all get bought this summer,
By Madrid.
right? By
But you went
us,
from
by
Lamptey-
Arsenal.
Oh, okay, all right.
By
Haaland
Arsenal.
to the-
The owner's capable of doing that. He's got the money.
He's got the money, yeah.
Personally, right? Would you keep him for another 3 years, or would you still say no, Daniel Ek and the legends come in?
Ask James that, because how we ended the
I'm
last
asking you
stream.
first.
Oh, me?
Don't swerve.
No, I wanted James to ask
Don't
first.
swerve it. What would you
Oh,
do?
no, Robbie, I want Kroenke out. I wouldn't have been here at the protests and been that vocal
Okay.
and be that, involved if I wasn't
Turkish?
that.
Nah, of course it sounds nice, but regardless of what they do, we have to keep the pressure
message
up.
up, yeah.
Look at Liverpool, Rob. FSG, for a couple of years, it looked like they was great owners. But then when this season comes, the lack of depth, the lack of actually investment in the summers where they won the Champions League and they won the Premier League, it's accumulated to a season where they're going to drop out the top four, potentially off the back of that. They're not happy with their owners, even though Champions League and League has been won. That's
Yeah.
because their owners secured the bag with Klopp. Klopp managed to make it work. But their owners haven't shifted direction. Their owners remain the same.
Yeah.
So let's not get fooled by any. Let's just keep.
And-
Because even if we bought all those 5 players and won the league, shouldn't we still put pressure on the ownership to continue the momentum, to
Yeah.
continue being ambitious?
They'll rest
Of
on their
course we
laurels.
should.
Liverpool-
They wouldn't.
Yeah, Liverpool fans are incredibly principled, and for them it's almost like, yeah, thanks you won the Champions League and Premier, that was great, but you're dragging our club through the mud and you're not representing what the city is. So I think that just goes to show that everything you said sounds great, but I think we'd have bigger problems because actually at the core Arsenal have principles and fans have principles.
Facts.
So no, I'd rather he sold. That all sounds great, and look, I want an owner. I said on the live stream, I don't want Ek just because he's not Kroenke. I want someone who I believe is going to be a fit owner, and I think Arsenal fans should, to a degree, be consulted before any deal happens. But it sounds great, and no, I'd rather Kroenke went because, quite frankly, I think we're a hassle for them, and I think they're a hassle for
What
us.
about you? And
You-
and the 50-1
You
fan
don't,
as
you,
well.
you don't need to ask me that question. I want the Kroenkes out. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
This club needs a change. It needs a change of direction. The ownership is stale. They've been here for a very long time. They've not communicated with the fans. They've done everything wrong since they've come in here. As regards to, on a fan level, they have done absolutely everything wrong. I used to go to watch Arsenal at Highbury when we won things, right? When fans were united and loved going to watch the team. And then we've moved here and it's all gone the other direction. And that's because of them. There's been opportunities to turn it around and they've not seized it. The time is up.
Yeah.
We need a change. Could it be Daniel Ek? I'm excited by the lineup. You know, it's a bit like I see the lineup and I'm like, I like this lineup.
Dream
you know
team.
what I mean?
I feel like they should make a movie.
Yeah, and
The
like
Avengers.
somebody pointed out earlier, we might get some free music as well. Right? I'm only joking. But no, I'm excited by the lineup. And listen, if it's down to Kroenke out, Ek in, I'm Ek in. But let's see how it works out.
Yep, trust me.